It's that time again. How you doing? Got some birds this week as the intro. It's a funny old day today. It's raining, and yet it wasn't, well, it wasn't supposed to. Forget the weather forecast. It's raining. There's a bit of a breeze from the east. No, sorry, the west. Getting mixed up now. Bit of a breeze from the west. 12 degrees, which is what, 54, isn't it? 54 Fahrenheit-ish. 10, 12 millibars and 78% humidity. So yes, the flag is sort of blowing quite well at the moment. Overcast. I don't think there's going to be any sun today. I'm not going by the weather forecast. I'm going by looking at the clouds, the overcast sky, the feel of the air, the pressure, the rain. It's not going to let up by the look of it today anyway. How are you? What have you been up to? Anything exciting? Anything interesting? I have. I went out for a meal. The first Indian restaurants first came to Britain in the 1800s. Can you believe it? 1800s. The first Chinese restaurant opened in London near Piccadilly Circus in 1908. The reason I'm mentioning this is because last night we went to a Thai restaurant, which I have to say was very nice. Now, you know what I'm like with food. I don't eat meat. Okay, I don't like it. I don't eat rice, noodles, pasta, fish. People often say to me, well, what do you eat? Well, I don't know. I like beans on toast. I did actually in the restaurant, I did say to the family, I said, I can't see beans on toast on the menu with brown sauce. No beans on toast in a Thai restaurant. The thing is, the food was lovely, actually. It was really nice. I don't know what I had. Was it not spring rolls? That's Chinese, isn't it? Some sort of rolls. I don't know what they are. And I had a stir fry thing, which was really nice. There was like vegetables it looked like in batter. I don't know what it was, but it was lovely. Now here's the thing. The family was saying, they're looking at me saying, you're not moaning. Because I'm well known for moaning, complaining. Oh, don't like this, don't like that. I'm not eating that. And as my brother-in-law said, you've got nothing to moan about. You'll have to moan because there's nothing to moan about. So I did. Well, not coming here again. There's nothing to moan about. No, seriously, it was really nice. Of course, back in the old days, in the 50s, down here on the south coast, we didn't have Chinese restaurants, Indian restaurants, Thai restaurants and all the other ones. We had a fish and chip shop. In fact, we had loads of fish and chip shops. I don't know why I'm saying we had a fish and chip shop. Loads of them. There were several in and around the town, wherever you go, any parade of shops anywhere, outside of town, doesn't matter where. There's your post office, the normal stuff, the chemist, blah, 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 and a fish and chip shop. I do remember the first time I went into a Chinese restaurant in town. I suppose I was mid to late teens, and I tried some Chinese food. I didn't like that. And then there was an Indian restaurant that opened up somewhere in the town. I went there. That wasn't too bad. I like Indian curry, but the trouble is I find them very greasy. And of course, being fussy as I am, an old fusspot, as people call me, I don't like the Indian curry because it's too greasy. I don't like the Chinese this because it's not right. Mind you, the Chinese chips are really nice. Anyway, enough about all that. It was just really nice. I thought I'd let you know. The first time I tried Thai food was a few years back. I avoid places like that because of my fussiness, I suppose. But the first time I tried Thai food, I looked on the menu, mushroom soup, and I thought, oh, that's my favourite, mushroom soup. What was it? It was seriously, it was a mushroom floating around in sort of green-coloured water. And I'm looking, that's not mushroom soup. I like cream of mushroom soup, Heinz mushroom soup, cream of mushroom soup in a tin, or homemade. Trish makes beautiful mushroom soup, but it's not a mushroom floating in water, is it? Anyway, enough about food. We went to Amberley Museum on Sunday, the 1960s weekend. Fantastic, the cars, old 1960s cars, Hillman Minks, all that, amazing. Really nice to look round. Loads of scooters, Vespa, Lambretta, do you remember that lot? With all the lamps. Have a look on rants.info, the website, rants.info. I put some photos there, only I think 3 or whatever it is, just to give you an idea. an old London type bus, which was fantastic. Who remembers the London buses? I'm sure lots of you do. Jumping on and off the platform at the back, there's a pole you can grab, the conductor standing there, and even when the bus is moving you can jump on or jump off. No health and safety back then. Excellent. Really good day out that was. And we were in the restaurant having a coffee, and this chap was looking at me. I saw him looking, and he kept looking and looking, and I'm thinking, what's he up to? What's the matter with him? Then he came over, and he said, "Are you Ray?" So I was tempted to say, "Who wants to know?" Wind your neck in. Anyway, I said, "Yes, Ray's Rants." I said, yes, Ray's Rants. He said, "I love your podcast. I've always listened to your podcast." So, Ian, lovely to meet you. He recognised me from the website. So lovely to meet you, Ian, at Amberley Museum. In fact, he was saying to me that he said to his wife, "I wonder whether we'll see Ray there," because he's always banging on about Amberley Museum. Ian lives in Southampton. They just were up this way for the day, and they thought they'd pop into the museum, not looking for me. Well, actually, yes, I could pretend they were looking for me, but they weren't. No, they went to the 1960s weekend, which was absolutely brilliant. Now, I've had an email from Terry. Hello, Terry. He says, "I never thought I'd see the day when certain businesses refuse to advertise on certain TV channels for political reasons." I know what you mean, Terry. I'm not going to mention names or anything like that, but I know what you mean. Isn't it amazing? Can you imagine? Oh, Terry's my age, by the way. Can you imagine back in the 1950s, the 1960s, can you imagine a company, whether it be a shop or a car manufacturer or whatever, saying, "Well, I'm not going to advertise on that channel because I don't like their politics"? It just wouldn't, we wouldn't think of it. Mind you, there was only one TV channel where they took adverts, wasn't there? ITV. BBC didn't have adverts, they still don't. A lot of people are saying defund the BBC, aren't they? Have TV adverts, get your money that way like everyone else does. Anyway, that's another issue. But yes, Terry, that is an interesting point, isn't it? Certain businesses not advertising on certain TV channels because they don't like their politics. I don't know what the world's coming to. Do you remember I told you, was it last week or the week before? First time in 10 years, I wanted to go on the train, just a couple of stops up the line to the pub, and it was cancelled. The first time in 10 years I wanted a train, and they cancelled it. The emails I've had, I don't know how many, loads of emails. "Oh, our trains are always being cancelled. My train going to work is always being cancelled." It's amazing, isn't it? I think it must be the lack of drivers. A driver goes off sick or whatever, and that's it, the train's cancelled. I don't understand what's happened to the railway. We used to have the finest railway in the world. When I was a boy in the 50s and 60s, people talked about the British Rail. Well, it was called British Rail, wasn't it? I know it had its problems, I know all that, but it was just the finest railway in the world. In fact, we sold, did we? Am I right here? Did we sell steam engines to countries all over the world? India and wherever, we sold steam engines to them. Amazing. I don't know what's gone wrong. Talking of things that have gone wrong, what's happened to drivers? They don't seem to be able to drive anymore, people on the roads. I know we've always had bad drivers, obviously. They used to call them Sunday drivers in the old days. I remember my dad, we'd go out in the car and he'd say, "Look at this chap in front, a Sunday driver," meaning if some old boy that only ever went out on a Sunday, in his car, didn't go out during the week. Honestly, the standard of driving these days is appalling. It really is dreadful. Yesterday there was a chap parked in this little sort of row of shops, like an access road. There's a car parked there. No one could get through. People are tooting, beep, beep, beep. It's just sitting there, not moving. In the end, someone went over to him and said, "Can you move your car? There's a whole queue of traffic trying to get past." He did move eventually, but absolutely hopeless. They've no awareness of other drivers on the road. They're driving along, they don't know what's behind them. I reckon they believe they're the only car on the road. They want to change lanes. They just drift over to another lane. They want to turn left or right. No indicating, or if they do indicate, it's the wrong way. What's happened? It's best not to get wound up or frustrated, isn't it, when you're driving? because then you'll cause accidents and things trying to overtake people. You need to relax. Talking of relaxing, hello Dave, nice to hear from you. Dave says that I was talking about the countryside. Was I? I'm sure I was, Dave. I don't remember, but I'm sure I was. And he says that the countryside is really good for your mental health, for relaxing. He saw some programme on the telly about it, and they reckon that sitting in the woods, only for sort of 20 minutes, half an hour, just sit there on your own, amongst the trees, the wildlife, the undergrowth, the calm, the tranquility, just sit there. And apparently it does you the world of good mentally. And I have to agree with that, Dave. I must admit, when I go into the woods, I just find it relaxing. So that's good for stress. If you're stressed out, go and sit in the woods. I was talking about that, wasn't I? I can't remember. I ramble on about so many different things. I can't remember what I've talked about. Sometimes I listen back to some of the early episodes 4, 5, 6 years ago to see what I was banging on about then. It's quite interesting actually going back and having a listen. So what have you been up to? Let me know. rants@protonmail.com. Let me know. And as I've said many times now, if you're going to leave a message on YouTube, if you listen to the episodes on YouTube, I no longer get emails. So if it takes 2 or 3 days for me to answer you, don't worry, I haven't forgotten you. It's just I have to go through all the messages on YouTube, which can take time, of course. Be good, be bad, don't get caught. I must stop saying that. Who is it? Susan. Hello, Susan. Emailed me from Scotland, I think it was. Will you stop saying that? She said, Susan, all you're going to do by asking me to stop saying it is encourage me to keep saying it. Anyway, there we are. Happy days. I will see you all on Sunday, so I shall look forward to that. In the meantime, have a good week, or what's left of it, half a week. Look after yourselves and take care. Thanks for listening, as always. Bye-bye for now.